Great. So welcome you all once again to today's section. Today we are going to complete the latter part of the business valuation by solving two past exams questions. Yes, so we are going to look at the two questions basically. So I will start with the goodwill calculation under the net asset method. In fact, basically we finished all the aspects of business valuation. What left was the goodwill. We said that the intangible assets, if you are looking for the net assets, the net asset method of business valuation, net asset basis. For that one, we said I'll put all the assets together, so total assets, which include the non-current and what? Current. The non-current include tangible and intangible. The intangible ones, they are the goodwill, patent, copyright, trademark, logo, deferred development expenditure, and then licensed software. Good. So for that one, especially goodwill, it must be valued using any of the methods. So we look at the ways of valuing a goodwill today. Then probably we add that. So total assets less the total liability. Good. Most of the workings have to do with the total asset. Yes, they can also give you workings on the total liability. Yes, can also let you conduct some little workings on the total liability. We look at all of these today to finalize the case. Great. So now today we are going to look at how to value goodwill. What are the methods? We look at the two main methods out of the four that are provided in the material. So we look at the two. We said that the net asset method, sometimes it includes goodwill because goodwill is intangible assets. We said that intangible assets, if they do have market value or they can generate future benefit, please bring them in. But if that intangible asset do not have active market or they don't produce or they are not going to produce economic benefits, future economic benefits, and please do not include it. It must be excluded. So you are valuing the business. For the tangible non-current assets, as usual, the PPs, it must be at fair value if possible. It must be at fair value if possible. Great. Okay, so that is it. So let's look at the goodwill. There are two methods out of the many. So types of valuing goodwill under the net asset method. So types of method of valuing goodwill we have what we call number one, average method. Average method. We have number two, super profit method. Super profit method. So we quickly look at these two to end the business valuation so that we can solve more questions. We can do more. Yes. So let's look at the average profit. Here, the goodwill will be valued using the average purchase of certain number of years of the last average profit. So you're going to look at the average method, how to find the average method. All this one have only two steps. Step one, find the average. Step two, multiply by the years that you are purchasing. It ends there. That's the goodwill. So we look at this critical example in the handouts. Let's look at it to basically finish the game. Great. Let's go to this section. Yeah, average is here. So goodwill in the average method. Under the average method, the last 5 years profit has been given. Now they say goodwill is to be valued at 3 years purchase of average profit for last 5 years. So it can be 2 years purchase, 1 year purchase, 3 years purchase, 4 years purchase, in that order. First of all, find the average profit for the last years. They say last 5 years, so they have to give us the last 5 years profit. You find the average. How do you find average? You sum all these figures up, then you divide it by 5. That's the number of observation. That's the first one. So if you go to the board, it be like this. So the average method of valuing goodwill. So step 1, get the average profit by summing all the profit together. So all the profit, and divided by the number of observations. So by sum is equal to sum of all profits divided by the number of years. So here all the profits starting from the very first one. All the profits starting from the very first one. Let's go there again. So 20,000, 28, 20,000, 28 plus 28 plus 25 plus 48, then lastly plus 19. So if you put all this together, then you divide it by 5 years. So this will probably give us something like this. Yeah. So this will give us basically the top one should give us 140 divided by 5. So 140,000 divided by 5 years. That will give us 28,000. So the average profit is what? 28,000. Then step 2, you just find 3 years of it, because they said 3 years purchase. So the number after the average, we have to multiply it by the number of purchase. So is the future maintainable profit after tax times the number of years of purchase. The maintainable profit is nothing by the average profit. That's what we have to look at. So now times 3. So that's all. So therefore, step 2, the goodwill will be equal to this 28,000 times 3 years. And basically that will give us 64,000. So that's the goodwill. Great. So we are done with the first method of calculating the goodwill. First method of calculating the goodwill. Now let's go to the second method. Don't forget the method are average profit method, super profit, capitalization, and annuity. We will look at the first. Then we go to the super profit method. Super profit method. Okay, good. Okay, good. Let's go over. They said that goodwill is 3 years purchase. So they said 3 years. 3 years purchase of 5 years average profit. So 5 years average profit. So the bottom line is goodwill is equal to 3 by 5 years average profit. That is it. So basically, first thing you have to do is get a 5 years average profit. Sum all the profit together. Don't forget that if there's a loss among them, just subtract. Assume the last one was a loss. It must be profit after tax. So if it's a loss after tax, you subtract. Good. So that's the first thing you have to do. You have to get the 5 years average profit. Sum all the profit together. When you are done, divide it by the number of years that you sum up. That will give us the average, because average is the total over the observation. So that's the very first thing you have to do. Then second, you multiply it by the number of years that you are purchasing. So say 3 years purchase. So it can be 2 years. If it is 2 years purchase, you multiply by what? 2. If it is 4 years purchase, you multiply by 4. If it is 5 years purchase, you multiply by 5, in that order. So that is how we get the goodwill under the average method. Great. So let's see. So over here, we get something like, we had average of 28,000. So therefore, the goodwill will be that 3 years for 3 years purchase times the 28,000, and then we had 84. So the goodwill is 84. So in that situation, if you are determining the value of the company using the net assets method, then this 84 should form part of the goodwill. This 84 will form part of the total assets, because the goodwill, after you have valued it, it should be part of the total assets. So that is it. Be part of the total assets. Great. So now let's move on to the next one. Now the next one we call it super profit method. Wow. Super profit. So that one you have to select the super profit. You have to go through some few steps to get the super profit. Then we are done. Good. So okay, so let's look at the super profit method. So how to find the goodwill? Method 2. We call it super profit. Super profit. Super profit. That one have 4 steps. So I believe we can go through the steps. But the super profit is nothing but difference between the average profit and expected profit. That is all. Super profit is equal to what? Average profit minus the expected profit. So super profit is nothing but the average profit. Good. So this average profit is the same as how we find average profit in the first step. Minus what we call expected profit. Expected profit. Expected profit. That's all. So how do we find this? How do we find this? For average profit, you know it already. Expected profit, we are not going to find it. And that is all. There are steps in the book that we can go through to find all of them. But I'll go straight forward. Yes. So the very first step By these steps, anyhow you start, the final answer must be correct. Someone decided to find this one first. Other people also find this one first. What matters is the final answer get it correct. Good. Great. So to get the average profit, the average profit is nothing but the total last year's profit. So last year's profit are divided by the number of years. Number of years. That is all. That is the average profit. It is the same as what we did previously. Just recently, what we did. Perfect. What is expected profit? You don't need to worry. Expected profit is equal to the expected return. Expected return times the receipt times the capital employed, not the receipt. The receipt times the capital employed times the capital that you have employed. That's all. We are done. So you find the expected return. They'll give it to you in the form of percentage. After you get a percentage, then you multiply by the capital employed. Then we are done. Basically. So the steps are, so this one is the step one. Find the capital employed. Step two, find the expected. Step three is everything. Yeah. Step three, find the average profit. Step four, then you continue. So let's begin with the steps. Then you'll be fine. But don't forget the game. Step one, find the capital employed. So capital employed, that's the very first step. How do you find capital employed? Under ratio, you look at capital employed, which is also the same as what? Net asset, right? Which is equal to equity plus debt. So don't forget, equity plus what? Non-current liabilities. That's the capital employed. So you go to the question, then look at it. Now use this question as the basis of what? Illustration, so that we can move a bit faster. This particular question. So this is the question. The following information relate to target professional consult for just ended financial year. The year decided to disappear. Non-current asset is there. Non-current asset is here. Current asset is there. So step one, based on the financial statement given to us, we should find the capital employed. Good. So basically, capital employed will be equity plus non-current liability. Then you add it to this. That's all. So 560. Perfect. So great. So therefore, which is equal to 500 plus 60,000, but I nearly forget the zero. So that will give us 560,000. So that is the capital employed. Step two. Now the capital employed is also called aside equity plus non-current liability, total asset minus current liability. Let's see if it's true. Total asset minus current liability. It must give you the same answer. Yes. Let's see if it is true. You're just backing it. Total asset is 660. Then current, in fact, this one must be current liability. So no be current asset. No, it should be current liabilities. The asset there must be taken off. Let me do that before. So that one too will be, so 660,000 minus 100,000, right? Which is the same as 560. Good. So confirm. Now let's move on. Now the next step is what we call find what we call is expected profit. We are looking for expected profit. Expected profit. Now, If your capital employed is 560, then they should give us the return, the expected return, so that we can multiply by this, so that we can know the quantum, the value of the expected profit. So you go to the question, they'll give you percentage or rate. Take that percentage, they will give it to you. Or sometimes the examiner might calculate this one for you. They said the rate of interest expected from the capital house regard to the risks involved is a 5%. Wow. So their return is 5%. So if your return is 5% on every capital that you have employed, then what will be the quantum, the monetary value of that profit or that return? So what are you expecting? If you have invested this, you've employed this, and the return is 5%, like this, what will be the return? Which is equal to 5% times 560. Great. And that will give us this will give us Ghana city of 5% times 560. That's 28,000. Wow, what a coincidence. First sounds average profit for 28,000. Okay, now let's see. Then step 3, we should look for the average profit. That one I was told that you're very good at it, so you will look at it for me. Average profit. How do you find average profit? Average profit, add all the last year's profit together and divide it by the average. Add all the last year's profit together and divide by the average. That is the average profit. Okay. So great. Now let's go to the question and take it. In fact, the requirement says something here nicely. It says calculate the value of goodwill on the basis of 3 years purchase of super profits of the business calculated on the average profit of the last 4 years. So that means you need the profit for the last 4 years, then you find the average. What will be the average year? So to be the average profit for the last 4 years. So you sum all the last 4 years profit together, then you relax for a while, you come back again, then you divide it by 4 because they are 4 in number. If there's a loss in there, kindly subtract, you are done. So average profit will be 20 plus, so average profit will be 20 plus 25. Okay, if I'm done with it, can give me the answer. 20 plus 28 plus 25 plus 48, all divided by 4. So that is the average. So what will be the average? Then we move on. So 32,250. So 30,250 Ghana. Okay. Now, step 4 is the super profit, and we know the formula already. So step number 4, let's do step 4 here. Nicely, step 4. Step 4 basically talks about the super profit. Super profit. We say super profit is nothing by the average profit less the expected profit. That is all. So here, where is the average profit? Where is the expected profit? So is the step 3 minus the step 2. Take note that if it happened that the expected profit is more than the average profit, there's no super profit. Super profit exists if and only if whatever you earn is more than whatever your expectation. If you have achieved your target, overachieve your target, then that's what we call a super. You've done super. Yes, like you said that you have to blow, let's say, 75 in the exam. So you are expected 75. On average, after the actual results, you had 85. Wow. So what's the excess above your expectation? Okay, so my excess above my expectation is 85. What I had minus what I was expecting, that is 10. So that's the super max. So I got it from super max. Good. So let's bring it here. Super profit simple means your average profit minus your expected. But what if the actual was rather lesser? You had 69. Here there's no super max. In fact, your expectation, you didn't even make it. Your target, you don't even make your target than to have what you call abnormal gain. So in that case, there's no super profit. So take note of that. You only have super profit if whatever you have earned, the average, on average, is far, far more than what you were expecting. You've done very well, extra well. That is all. That is. So here, who can tell us the super profit? Super profit. Super profit. We say super profit is the average minus expected. So over here to be 2,000. So if I put the formula 30,250 minus 28,000, and that will give us Ghana cedi of 2250 average. Perfect. 2250. That's the super profit. The last step, step 5, you calculate the goodwill. But the goodwill, they will tell you 2 years purchase. That means they're going to purchase 2 years of this. 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, any of them. So, but here they say what? Goodwill. Calculate the value of the goodwill on the basis of 3 years purchase of super profits of the business. So 3 years. So here it will be 3 years. So times what? 3. So therefore the goodwill will be 3 years times 2250. And that will give us okay, so that will give us an answer of 6750, right? Yeah. 6750. Perfect. So 6750. That's the goodwill. So if you are doing your valuation, when you're adding the asset, kindly include what? Goodwill as 6750. That is all. Yes, because if you are selling your business right now and someone is coming to purchase or acquire, you tell the person to pay extra. Yes, the person have to pay more than what you your current value, because you tell that okay, we've been here since 5 years. We are not around. We have survived a lot of difficulties. So we want to capture those difficulties on an asset called goodwill, intangible. Then we put them in. Okay. So that is it. So now we are done with the goodwill calculation, basically. That is all. But I want us to solve this particular question using the net asset method. What would be the value, the total value of the entity? That requirement did not come. Please, you can add it. And value the business using the net asset method. Determine the total value using the net asset. So let's look at that one. Wait. We said the net asset, add all assets, subtract all liability. But this time under all the assets, add goodwill of 6750 to it. That's all. And then add all the assets, less all liabilities. Good. Then you are done. Let's go straight to the value of the business. Let's go straight to the value of the business under the net asset method. Under the net asset method. So the value of the business. Good. But you are using the net asset method. So into bracket net asset method. Find somewhere and then include that. vital point, guidance. So into bracket net asset method. First, we'll start with the total assets. So total assets, I'll underline it like this. I'll start with my non-current assets, the one that they've given to us in the question. The non-current assets are 420. Non-current asset is 420. So I'll start with non-current assets. Non-current assets is 420,000. After the exam now, goodwill calculated bracket workings number 1. We have 6750. So goodwill is 6750. Then I'll go to current assets. Current assets. Current assets. That was 240. But it was the opposite of this. I'll sum them up to get the total assets. So 420 plus 240 will probably give us 660,000 plus 6,000. So to be 660,000, 666,750. So total be 666,750. Then it says less the liabilities. So liabilities. So what are the liabilities here? The liabilities are from the question. Non-current liability is 60. Current liabilities is what? 100. So 60 and 100. So non-current liability. Non-current liability. Can probably put that one here, which is 60. Current liability, which is 100. You sum it up, you get 150,000. But you take it off, then you get the data. It's the same as the equity. So we should get 500 and 6,750. So that's the total value of the entity. So total value. If they have given us the share price, we get the price or the value per share. Now we are done. On that note, we are done with business valuation. I will scan through the exam past question for you. In fact, for that of the net asset basis, is the least amount that the investor will be willing to accept. Because the least amount, at least if you are not paying anything, at least the least amount that the company, the shareholders, they are willing to sell the business for. Because if I'm not earning anything, not the current value, not the book value or the current value. Okay, so basically that is it. So let's quickly go through that of the recent exam past questions. So see, so far there are 2 questions that we will look at it from your past questions. So this, I'll look at the second question first. There's a question called it's a question in the intervention called Bija and Dunja. It's a question called Bija and Dunja. Why are they? Yes, they are here. Okay, so this is the question. So Bija Limited proposed to purchase the shareholding of Dunja Limited by issuing or by the issue of additional shares in Bija Limited to the members of Dunja Limited. Both businesses are similar in nature. The summary statement of financial position of the two companies are as follows. Great. So let's go to the requirements so that we familiar ourselves. A. Calculate the price per share of the two companies using the net asset method, which includes goodwill as an asset. Wow. So if it includes goodwill, then I need to use any of the methods. They have to tell us which method we should use, average profit or super profits. But you can see this one, you will three. Goodwill is considered to be 3 years purchase of super profit. Okay, good. Let's continue again. Calculate the number of shares to be issued by Bija Limited. Prepare the statement of financial position for Bija Limited after the issue has been affected. Okay, so let's see. The financial statement is there. The following additional information related to the two companies has been made available. The average profit before charging debenture interest over the past 5 years will be. So the average profit is here 90,000 against 120,000. That is the average profit. Well, we said that super profit is equal to the average profit and the expected profit. Okay. Then 12% is considered to be a reasonable return. Wow. For risks involved in the industry in which the two companies operate. So that is the game. Now, note 2. Note 2, that's the expected return is 12%. So what are you going to do for? We find the capital employed, then you multiply this 12% by it, and that is what you call the expected return. Then we subtract it from the average profit. Don't forget that if the average profit is lesser, there's no super profit. That is all. So first thing we have to do is we have to calculate the goodwill. First, let's calculate the goodwill. So first, get the capital employed as the steps that we went through to get the goodwill. So get the steps for me. Then let's see. This is the goal. So first, as you know, calculation of the goodwill. That's the first thing that we will do. Let's go to the steps. Do the working. The goodwill calculation. Goodwill calculation. So using what we call super profit. And we say super profit is nothing by your average profit minus that of your expected. That's it. So first, let's find the capital employed. So step 1, capital employed. Capital employed. The capital employed for the two companies. So, but under this shortcut, capital employed for the two companies. So here is Bija, and then Dunja Limited. Okay. So let's just use our calculator to estimate the capital employed quickly without going to see here. So Ghana city must be on top. 304 raised from the question. So first, capital employed. Now the capital employed will be from the question. Let's quickly go there. Capital employed having to be total equity. So let's do one after the other. So for Bija will be Bija is 5250. No. Total equity. Total equity 7140 plus the non-current liability. The only non-current liability is what? That's the debenture stock. But Bija does not have a debenture. It means that the capital employed is only the equity. So Bija is an geared company. It does not have a debt. When we talk about debt, it's non-current liability. Bija does not have non-current liability. So their capital employed will be only the equity. You don't have debt. So 7140,000. So 7140,000. Then that of Dimja will be Dimja will put some two together. So it's have debenture stock of 2004 plus that of the equity, which is 7840. So 2004 plus the 7840, that will give us 10,240, right? 10,240. Agreed. 10,240. So let me write it down. That everything goes there. 10,240. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's the capital employed. Step 2, get the expected profit. So expected profit. Yeah, what's the rate? The rate is 12%. So find the 12% of the capital employed. Okay, so that is the expected profit. You multiply the 12% by the 7140, and that will give us. So the first one, 12% of this figure will give us something like 856. So 856, 800. How do you get the 856? 12% on the capital employed. That is. Then the next one will be 12%. So that's 0.12 times 10,240. That'll give us 12288. So that'll give us 1228800. So comma. So that's expected. So step 3, average profit. Average profit. They have given it to us. They said this guy is 120 and the other person is 90. So 90,000 versus 120,000. How do you know? So given to us in the question. So we can pick it from the question. So from the question, we do have average profit to be Jumja is 120, Bija is 90. Then we are done. Good. Okay, so here, what is the super profit? The super profit, step 4. Super profit. We said that super profit is equal to the average profit minus the expected profit. So average profit, the more I write, the more I remember, minus the expected profit. Over here, it will not be possible. Yeah, because the average profit is lesser than the super profit. Because the average profit is 90. 90 minus this. 120 minus this. No. So there's no super profit. So here, dash. Tell them that since the average P, average profit is lesser than, since the average profit, oh, it wasn't coming, sorry. Since the average profit is lesser than the expected profit, no super profit, we are done. So, great. Okay, great. So let's continue. Now let's go ahead and look at the net assets of the companies. So now that we know there's no goodwill, let's look at the net assets of the companies. How do you calculate net assets under business valuation? It's a calculate the price per share of the two companies using the net asset method, which include goodwill. There is no goodwill, so you shouldn't even worry yourself. The price per share, so which is called the total net asset. So we just, no footnote, no fair value. So we just have to pick the total asset over here, less all the liabilities, then we are done. Or it's the same as the total equity. So we can just pick these figures. That's all. We can just pick these two figures and then divide it by the number of shares. You get the same answer if you do that. So let's see. Okay, so we can go ahead and then calculate the value per share under the net asset method. So under the net asset method, we will have something like the value per share. So we are calculating value per share or price per share. Don't forget Bija and Dumja. Yes. Ghana City in thousands. That is. You start with your total assets. Total assets. So write your total asset down. You go to the question, you pick the total asset from the question. Where's the total asset? Total asset is here. Bija is 8715. So 8715,000. Then Dumja is 13,880,123. That's Dumja. The last what? The liability. All the liabilities. So you start with the non-current and current. So current liabilities and non-current liabilities. Bija does not have a non-current liability, so I'll put dash there. So let's see. The current liabilities for that of the two is 1575 for Bija. 1575 and then 1,000 like this. Don't forget. Then for that of put in bracket. Yeah. Let's go to Dumja. Dumja is 3640. Dumja is 3640. Then 11 non-current liability. That's the debenture. The debenture for that of Dumja, which is 2,400. Bija does not have some, so that one will be dashed in the question. Great. So 2,400. That's 2.4 million. Like this. So this will give us the equity, the total value of the company. But we've not done anything. We have not done anything. not done anything. For this, all what we've done, we can just use one figure to get it. So what? If there's no footnote that will affect the net asset, you can use the shortcut. So the answer will be 7140 and then 7840. Agreed. So 7140, 1, 2, 3. Then here will give us let's go and pick the answer. Final answer is 7840, right? 7840, 1, 2, 3. So that is it. How we get this? This is the total value. Good. So the price or the value per share, the share price will be share price. Okay. So the share price is nothing by, we pick the total value and divide it by the number of shares. We pick the total value and then divide by okay. So basically that is it. So the share price will be, let's go and pick the number of shares that each of the company have. So what will be the number of shares for Bieja and then Dumja? If the share price is 1 CD and then the value is 7 million here or 7 billion. So the number of shares will be 7 million and 6 million respectively. But if you want to write it in full, it's 7 billion because there are 3 zeros to here in addition to the 6 zeros that we have here. So it's 7 billion and 6 billion respectively. Good. So it tells you that this figure here is 7 billion and this one is also 7 billion. So the share price will be either 7140,000 like this, or divided by the 7 million, like the 7 million like this. Or you can be increasing the zero. You can be increasing the zeros too. Then that of Dumja is 6 million. So you pick the value 7840,123. Then you divide it by, that part is not coming clear. Must go down. Great. I have to take it up. Correct. So 7840,123, all divided by 6 million. So what will be the share price? What will be the share price? And then we add done for again. What will be the share price? What will be the share price of the company? So this is equal to 1.02 per share. This is equal to 1.31 per share. That is it. You are done. Now, questions like this, where there are no footnotes, don't even worry yourself to go to stories. Just pick the total equity. That's all. So the total equity was the same as what we have calculated. If there's no footnote, alternatively, if you pick this one, but someone who is seriously aiming for ticks will not do this method. We'll still go through the traditional method, at least to earn some ticks be there, right? Yes. So that's the alternative. Let's quickly look at the second and then the third one. Then we move on to the next game to quickly discuss the corporate governance. B part says that calculate the number of shares to be issued by Bieja Limited. So initially, we were told that Bieja proposed to purchase the shareholding of Dumja by issuing of additional shares in Bieja. So this one, we call it consideration in kind. You are buying something that you don't have physical cash and you want to use your shares. So you allow the person to pick shares in your company and it will settle whatever amount you have to give to the person. That's all. So here the question is, what will be the number of shares? So what is the value of what you are buying? What is the total value of Dumja? What is the Dumja's value? What is the wealth of Dumja? How much do we have to pay in order for that of the shareholders of Dumja to surrender their shares? Shareholders of Dumja, according to the net asset method, they are ready to receive this figure. They are looking forward for us to give them this before they are okay, because that's their value. So Dumja is expecting Bieja to give them what? This amount so that the shareholders will surrender their shares peacefully to that of Bieja without any trouble. Good. So pick whatever you have to pay to them. Pick whatever you have to pay to them. So let's write some formula B here. Some small formula B, small one here. That the B part, number of shares. So number of shares will be equal to the total value of the victim or the target. All these two people they are the same. Victim, target, they are the same thing. Victim and what? Target. So who is target here? Who is victim here? The person that you want to buy, that person is a victim. It's also a target because your eye is on that person. Yes, that asset that you want to buy, that vehicle that you want to buy, it's a victim. It's also a target. So the total value of targets, wow, yes, of target, no me, a target. Then, so that's Dumja. So here I can put Dumja here instead of the target. Total value of Dumja over the share price of the parent, the one who is buying. So divided by the share price of who? Bieja. You have to use Bieja share price. That's all. So Dumja value is what? 7840. Don't forget that it's in billions. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Don't forget that it's in billions. There are 3 zeros here. Divided by the share price of what? Bieja, the parent, the one who is buying. Because it's Bieja that will pay. So Bieja have to determine the number of shares that will give. So how many shares must Bieja issue? If the Bieja share price is 1, how many shares must he issue so that you can get the money of what? 7, 8, 4. So that divided by 1.02. That is all. Then we are done with that answer. Great. Now let's quickly scan through the next requirement. Please, the answer that you get is the number of shares. You add shares to it, and then we are done. The C part, as usual. You have to do some for me. So let's see the C part if it's very good for you. All of this going for 20 marks. Wow. So that one alone was for 9 marks. That's interesting. Prepare the statement of financial position for Bieja Limited after the issue has been affected. So here, in fact, nothing will change. You're going to prepare the financial statement. When they move, you move. So if you buy a company, what will happen? Now, Bieja have acquired Dumja. So what do you think will happen? All the properties of that company becomes your own. Yes, just imagine when GCB acquired Capital and UT Bank, what happened? The properties of UT Bank becomes the properties of GCB. So just add it to it. That is it. So here, all what you have to do is you start this process again. Don't change the format. All this process, you start it again. Just copy the format. When they move, you move. When they stop, you stop. You start financial position, Bioja Limited, after the acquisition of Bioja, full stop, that's the heading. You go to non-current assets. Then you pick Bioja's own. If you're able to acquire Bioja, then you should add it to it. So the PP or the non-current asset become this plus this. Then you go to current assets. The current asset becomes this plus this. Then you put it down. Then you go to, then you get your total assets. So that means you are just adding the result, these two balance sheets together. But there's exception. So when I get there, I'll let you know. That's the equity. We are even there. When you go to equity, don't forget, we don't touch anything under the equity for the Dunja. We don't bring anything here. So when you go to the equity, only that of the parents, the one who acquires, that's the Bioja. So you pick Bioja's own 7 million plus the value, plus this value, because he has issued shares to acquire Dunja. The shares, the value was this, so which must be part of the capital of Bioja. Bioja have not recorded that capital, so you have to record it for Bioja. How do we record capital? It will be added to the capital of Bioja. So add this one to the capital of Bioja in the new balance sheet. That's all, because he has issued shares and it must increase the share capital. That's the idea behind. So, and then I'll pick it up when you are done. Just take a snapshot of it then. So when you take the ordinary share capital, it will be 7,000 plus the 7840. Then you put the answer down. Income surplus only for Bioja. Don't pick Dunja because you've acquired it. Then you are done. You get a total. Then you come to non-current liability. You come to current liability. All of them. Current liability, pick everything. Debenture to you pick the 2,400. Bioja does not have some, and that's all for the new balance sheet, and it's balanced nicely. So I'll be expecting this particular answer. Great. So I'll be expecting it. So kindly try that one for me. Ask we have to. So we are moving on to our second question for better days or brighter days ahead. So better days. Let's go straight to the requirement and then let's see. Let's go straight to the requirements. It says that required. Describe any 5 situations that may lead to valuation of shares. Wow. 5 situations. So the requirements, 5 situations. So you can think of 5 situations. 5 situations. You can get all of this from some material. That is this very one. Share valuation is required in the following circumstances. So any of these 5, it's okay. Any of these 5, you are free to go. So that is it. So you can say when shares have been sold, acquisition measures, and then when a company is preparing to be listed. Yes, when the company is going to be listed on a stock market. Good. And then for tax purposes, for acquisition of another company in that order. So basically, that is it. And then you can find it in there. So I'll just go straight to the calculations. Using 3, but you can see 2 in fact is 3, not 2. I'm begging you. This figure must change. It must be. Wow. Okay, let's continue the game. So three method of valuation. Advise GM. Who holds 25% of the shares of better days on the values to be placed on her ordinary shares. Now, this particular question, they say select any of the three methods. Any of the three methods. Any. So, by the way, we will list all the methods, then you select any three. But some of the two, don't pick all the two at the same time. If I see all the two, I'll answer one. Even though we give you few of some two, they are the same. One is opposite of the other. We don't want that. Yes, you can leave us more. So the first method on the list is net assets. Net assets. Number two, earnings yield. If you look at that one, earnings yield. Then third one is PE ratio. PE ratio. The fourth one, dividend yield. The next one will be number 5, discounted cash flow techniques. Discounted cash flow. Any of these three. Any of these three. So select any of these three. Business valuation. So make sure that you know how to value business in any of these three. These two, when they ask you to do it by yourself, don't repeat them. Because they are basically the one is inverse of the other. So in this question, probably we use PE ratio. This question we use PE ratio. So you can select net asset, PE ratio, and then between these two, you select one. You go in for discounted cash flow techniques, then you are done. Do not select these two at the same time. But earnings yield and dividend yield, you can select them because one is dividend, one is earnings. So that is it. Because all the items that you need to solve the earnings yield, they are the same item that you need to solve the PE ratio. Basically, the same item. So that's why you don't need to repeat them. It's like you doing, when they give you a chance, you are doing debt to equity ratio and debt to capital employed ratio. I know the ratios. Okay. So, but for now, we are learning. So for now, you have to do everything for me from 1 up to 5. And this is a remix of the sweet potato. Great. This is a remix of the sweet potato. Okay. So to get a guide on this question, you can look at this particular question. The question called sweet potato. Let me project this particular question here. Let's go to sweet potato. Good. So this is the sweet potato question, and then I'll probably show you something in there. So how we solve this particular question, you do have the solution in your notes. So the same steps must be followed to solve this particular one too. Good. Okay, so we can go to the game. Okay. So this is the method. So we talk about the methods, then we are done. So if you do have any question, let me know before we move on with the game. Continue the game. The next question says that state 5 qualitative factors that may influence the value of a business. Wow. Qualitative factors, qualities, not quantitative, not numerical association. No, give us features, give us attributes that may influence the values that we can obtain when we value business. That's all. So basically, we can put some few facts down. So the qualitative factors, one, the nature of business can influence the value of the business. So let me just put them in here. So the qualitative factors. So let's put on top. I'm looking at the theories and then the calculation of something to qualitative. Oh, for what to graph, you promise me to do the calculation. That's what I'm doing the theory. So qualitative factors. So one, nature of the business. So nature of business. Yes, the value of a mining company, how you determine it, will be different from the value of a sole trader, or let's say not even a sole trader, just a bank or a manufacturing company. Good. Then here to government policy can also affect it. So government policy. Yes, government policy. Government policy. No. They will have restrictions on investors. Amount that you can invest, amount that you can remit. All of this will have impact on the value of a business. Then you can also talk about the demand and supply of the shares of that company. So the demand and what? Supply of the shares of that company. Of shares of that company. Good. You know, sometimes the shares or the value of a particular company is pegged against an underlying assumption, underlying asset. So if that asset change, this particular one will also change. That's the company that you're valuing. So let's assume that you have two companies, A and a company B. The value of company B is pegged against this particular item, item A. So if this item changes, moves up, it also affects this guy. That guy also moves up or moves down. That is it. So we call it the yield of other related shares in the stock market. Good. And then it can also be influenced by the dividend that you pay. So dividend, we're looking at the key ones. Dividend paid. And then your earnings. Your earnings. Either the earnings yield or the earning capacity. So the earning capacity. So that's your earning capacity. And I can also ask you, what are the qualitative factors to be considered before an investor will invest in a company? All of them moves around this area. So basically, we adjourn for the camp. Okay. So great. Now let's go to the footnotes to look at some few stuff that we have to adjust before we tackle the net assets. So first, as usual, we go to the footnotes. Additional information. The starting capital of Better Days Limited is made up of 20,000 ordinary shares of no par value. The company is not listed. Thank you. The company is not listed. The number of shares is 20 million ordinary shares. So if you look for the number of shares, he has given it to us already. Wow, what a good examiner. Thank you. Let's move on. The fair value of the tangible non-current asset of Better Days was 245. We said that for tangible non-current assets, we need the fair value or the real value or the market price or the market value. We are done. The current assets include obsolete stock of 20 million. That means some of the inventory is outdated, so you take it off. We are calculating net assets, so you take it off from what? The inventory. So that means the current asset, you subtract 20 from it. That's all. The patent represents a license to produce and sell special products. This product is expected to generate cash flow of 3 million per year over the next 5 years. Okay, over the next 5 years. Okay, so all what you have to do is you find the present value of 3 million for the next 5 years. So you find the discount factor for the 5th year. They'll give you the cost of capital, and then that's all. Now note 4, the amortized cost of the future cash payment in respect of the long-term loan is 120 million. Yes. For the non-current liability, you have to use the amortized cost if it's given to you in the footnote. So you have to use the 120, not the value that is stated it's in the financial position. That is all for the net asset purposes. Then come here. So the profit after tax and depreciation charges of Better Days Limited for the next 5 years are expected as follows. This one we use it to prepare the cash flow, discounted cash flow method. We said out with the discounted cash flow techniques, that one we want cash flow, not profit. So you just have to add the depreciation back to all of them. So you add a depreciation back to it and then you discount it. Good. Okay. So it's up to 2022 for the next 5 years. So 2022, you discount them. Assume that depreciation is only difference between profit and cash flow. Yes. We are looking for cash flow, not profit. And then good. So that is it. Happy Limited. No, I've jumped stuff. Note 6. The discount rate of Better Days Limited is 20%. Like I said, if not 10, 15, it will go 20, but I can give any of them. So 20% to be the cost of capital. So this is what you are going to use to discount all the cash flows. Let's continue. Happy Limited, a major competitor of Better Days Limited, is a listed on Ghana Stock Exchange with a PE ratio of 10 and dividend yield of 8%. So that is good. So that is all. We need this one to calculate to get the PE ratio of, but we pick them and then we just use it to calculate the share price. So basically, okay, so we will start the game. Again, over here to is similar. So let's go straight to the board. Right after reading through, I tell the examiner that I'm finding the value of the company, Better Days. So that was the B. The B, let's go up, 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 up. So B. So here we said total value of the business, right? Like this. Come down again. Tell us the method that you are using. Tell the examiner that I am starting the net asset because it's simple and straightforward. Net asset method. So the net asset method, the strategy that we said we are going to use will be, we'll go to the face. We are valuing business. We are using net asset. We are calculating net asset. That's all. Go to the face. Copy all the assets, just their name. If there's a cash, add a cash to it. Copy all the assets. But here the assets are only three. We have what? Non-current assets. Okay, we have tangible assets, patent and current assets. There are only three. Thank God. There are not many. Only three. So let's go and bring them in. So assets. So I'll write here total assets. So fast. There are only three. What are they? Tangible, patent, and current assets. Please, here there's no goodwill, no super profit, no average profit. So no goodwill, so don't worry yourself. Now, when you write them like this, if there's cash, for cash, you can bring the cash value there. Then you go to the footnote to pick their fair value. Go to the footnote to pick the fair value. Patent, you pick what you call the PV of future cash flow. Future cash flow. Cash flow. By discounting it, that is all you are done. All these answers are in the footnotes. If you go, they might also refer you. So let's go and pick them. Pick the question. Let's go to note 1. You can see some there. Note 2. Fair value of the tangible asset, but that is 245 million. 245 million. So I'm going to put it down. So here, 3 zeros, don't forget. So 245,000. I'll move on to the next one. If they inform me, I'll do. If they don't inform me, I'll leave it. The next one says that the current asset include obsolete stock of 20 million. Oh, if it's obsolete, what do? You take it off, write it off. You have to write it off so that we reduce the current asset. Let's go and pick the current asset and reduce it by 20. Current asset here is what? By current asset. Show yourself. Oh, don't want to come over. Current asset is 53,500 minus 20 million. It's too big. Oh. Current asset is the 53,500, so minus 20 million. So it will be 53,000. Let me do the workings here. Into bracket 53,500 minus 20,000. And that'll give me 33,500. Okay? I'll be getting it. So when I move, you move. When I stop, you stop. Then we go to patent. That's the one that we have to find the present value. Did you give us the cost of capital? Oh no, didn't give us the cost of capital. The discount factors. That means we have capital by ourselves. Don't worry, we'll do it. We have no choice. Let's go to note 3. Patent represents a license to produce and sell a special product. This product is expected to generate cash flow of 3 million per annum over the next 5 years. So we find the present value over the next 5 years. If this money is per annum forever, it's not for just 5 years. For that one, we call it perpetuity. So you just divide it by the discount factor. I'll do all of them for you. So what's the discount factor? 20%. So the question is this: 3 million patents. So you have to go and find a present value. Let's go and do somewhere and bring the answer in. Workings number 1. So patents. Let me do a small clinic tool. So workings. I'll put your patents. I have to find a present value. So 3 million. So 3,000 like this. Divided by 1 plus into bracket the discount factor. 20% will be 0.2 to the power 5. What will be the answer? So you solve this. So if I'm using a scientific calculator, not even scientific, I'm using let's say FX or MX. You have the index function in it. But unfortunately, by using the Macola type, don't worry, don't have it in. So what do you do? So that one, you have to do this to get for that game. All what you have to do is this. Because this one is for those who have the exponent. So this one for FX calculators. If I use Macaulay type of calculator, yes, so Macaulay type of calculator, you have to do this. Oh wow, someone found it and wow, that's interesting. If I use a Macaulay type of calculator, it's equal to the 3,000 times the discount factor for year 5. That's all. So using a Macaulay type. So how? Then how do you get this discount factor for 5 years? First, you first of all start. You said that when you're starting, you want to get a discount factor. You pick one, you convert the rate 20% to the 0.2. Add 1 to it, you get what? 1.2. Relax. You come back again. Wow, I like the answer too. You come back again. Those with Makola, follow me. You come back again. And then yeah, one discount factor. It will be 1 divided by what? 1.2. You put the answer down. The answer will be 1 divided by 1.2. So that will give us 0.8333, plenty 3. So rounding to 3 does not place 0.833. I don't know what to do. Don't need to worry. Those with Makola, typical Makola, just press the equal to again. If you press the equal to, the next one, it will give you the answer. Put the answer down. Don't touch it. Press it again to give you a 3. Don't touch it. Press it again to give you a 4. Don't touch it. Finally, press it again at the 5th time. Good. It will give you that answer. Then come and put it down. So that answer is nothing by, if you do it well, it should give us something like 0.402. If my memory was setting me correct. Then you multiply. So the answer will be 3,000. So 3,000 times 0.402. That's 12,006. You secured yourself. Then that is it. So that's the present value of the patent. So come and put it in here as 12,006. By having the FX or the MX, just calculate it straightforward. Or you can lift this one in here like this. If you have a space, you can lift it. Yes, you can do that straightforward. So that you don't need to go and do it working someone maybe you forget to. So to be 3,000 in here divided by 1 plus 0.2 all to the power 5. That's all. And it's a working. Great. So I like your answers. Your answers are correct. All your answers are correct. So that is great. Good. So we have our main solution down. So we are done with the total assets. We sum them up. So the total assets 245,000, 1,206, and then 33,500. That should give us something like I think there's some yes. The answer must be more than that. This is the annuity factor. We have to find the discount factor. So we have to find the annuity factor. Yeah, not the discount factor. So, but this figure is too small because the answer must be more than that. Should be more than the 3,000 that we are seeing. Should be more than the 3,000. So what we find is a present value. So we'll quickly look at the discount factor. Now, annuity factor, there's a straight formula that we will use. That formula, we have to look for annuity factor, which is equal to 1 minus bracket 1 plus r all to the power minus n, all divided by r. For this one, the macula calculators cannot do. The macula calculators cannot do, only the scientific. So, or the MX or the FX. To be 1 bracket 1 plus 0.2 to the power minus 5, all divided by 0.2. So for those of you who are using the FX calculator, you can punch it and give us the answer. I want to ask you use the macula type to generate. It will take time. Now, unless you do the discount factor 1, then you sum them up. Then you start. You calculate the individual discount factors. They say year 1. Discount factor for year 1. You put the answer down. 0.833. You go to discount factor for year 2. Discount factor for year 2. It will give us 0.694. Then discount factor for year 3. Discount factor for year 3 will give us 0.567. Yes, 567 in that order. Let me put it the discount factor. Now the discount factor will be 0.579. So 579. Then year 4 will be discount factor for year 4 will be 0.482. And then discount factor for year 5 at 20% will be 0.402. Yeah. Now sum all up. If you sum all this one up, you get the same answer as if you use this one single formula. So there's a difference between this one is called DF, discount factor. This one is called annuity factor. Why is it annuity factor? If it repeats itself, in the sweet potato, the examiner was very good. He gave us the annuity factor, so we just lifted it. But this one, no, we don't have the annuity factor. We have to calculate yourself. Yes, so the examiner is good. So let's sum it up here, and then that will be the annuity factor. Good. So that will get something like, and 8 up is 2.99. So therefore, the patent will be 3,000 times the 2.99. So that means you have to do all this in exam. So your calculator cannot do this one. Okay. So then you multiply times 3,000. So times 3,000. So 8970 goes. So that will be the right answer. 8970. Now let's find the total again. Then we are done. So this is the annuity factor. So annuity factor for 5 years. Good. Okay, so let's find for a total asset and then we are done. Okay, so let's continue the game. So now let's put all of them together. 287470. So 287470. So that's the total asset. Total asset less liability. So less liability. Liabilities to current and non-current. That's all. So let's go and put the current and non-current liabilities. From the question, your financial statement only have non-current liabilities. They have 10% long-term and then current liability. Let's pick just the current liability because they inform us that their debenture or the non-current liability have an amortized cost of 120. 120 million. So we have to use the 120, not the value that is stated there, especially this long-term loan. The long-term loan, is in fact, the long-term loan is 87,500. So we have to use the 120 given to us, this particular figure, not the 87. So let's go to 10% loan. So 10% long-term loan. So 10% long-term loan, and that will give us 120,000. We are subtracting current assets, not current assets, current liability. Current liability was something 500. The figure just flash. It's 32,000. Good. So I have to pick the 32,000 as a current. So 32,000. Then we are done. So what is the total value? So total value will be the total value. Then we are done. So minus 120 will give us 167. So that would be 135,000. So 135,000. That's financial. To be 135,747 there. 135,470. Yes. Then we are done. We're done for the game. Just that we have to look at for this. We have to obey the question. They said there was a shareholder who have what? What's the name? Jayami or so. So Jayam, he owes 25%. So you have to find 25% of that value. Because they say we should use any three methods, advise GM who holds 25% of shares of Better Days on the values to be placed on her ordinary shares. So you just find 25%. 25% of it, that's all. So therefore, the army will take 25% of it, and that will be. So let's do that one here. For the take 25% of 135,470. Answer. We are done. Now let's quickly move on to the next one. The next one on the list is the PE ratio. I will use PE ratio. The price earning ratio. The PE ratio. Don't forget the 3 steps of the PE ratio. Good. Then that is it. So someone had 33. 25%, 33,868. 868. So that's the 25%. Okay. So we are done. So the advice will be JM will get 33,868 if you see the net asset method. Then still, you continue using the PE ratio, price earning ratio method. Only 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. We are done. Just 3 steps. Using the PE ratio. So using the PE ratio, we said the first step is equal to you find the earnings per share, because under the PE ratio, market price per share is equal to the PE ratio times the earnings per share. That's all. So you have to get these 2 values. That's all. These 2 values. So first, earnings per share. You have to get earnings per share. For who? For Better Days, which is equal to the profit after tax all over number of what? Shares. What's the profit after tax? Let's go and pick it. Then that is the end. We're not done to So let's go and see the profit after tax. Where? Retained profit for the year. We said profit after tax. Oh. We said profit after tax. We didn't say retained profit. So the confusion or the manipulation is there. Oh. So 1, 2, 3. So profit after tax is 42,000. Perfect. So that is 42,000. Great. But everything about this question is the same as the sweet potato. Yes. So everything about this question. So 42,000. So that will be 42 million. Can I do like this? 42 million. Then the number of shares, we read it that they have 28 million shares in the first footnote. How we get to 20 million shares? So what's the earnings per share? Which is equal to no answer. So 42 divided by 20. So 42 divided by 20. Answer is 2.1. Perfect. So earnings per share is 2.1. That's the first step. If I use the PE ratio. Step 2. Get a PE ratio of a competitor. PE ratio of a competitor. Here, PE ratio of who? Competitor, but listed. But here they call it happy. Wow. Say happy yourself. So happy limited, right? Yes, happy. But here, PE ratio is equal to the market price divided by earnings per share. They are given to us. PE ratio is equal to market price of happy divided by what? Earnings per share of happy. You don't need to do all this. It has been given straightforward in the question to be 10. So you go and pick it. So PE ratio has been given to us free of charge. Free, the last footnote. Happy Limited, a major competitor of Better Days Limited, is listed on Ghana Stock Exchange with a PE ratio of what? 10. It has been given. So we don't need to worry at all. But if they don't give it to you like sweet potato, we calculate it by ourselves. We go through this. So given by 10. Then you say you assume a risk factor of let's say 20%, because if Better Days is unlisted and Happy is listed, then Better Days is a bit risky than that of Happy. So assume a risk factor. So that's all. So let Better Days be 20% risky than Happy, or let the risk factor be 20%. You see, we scale it to what? Down. Don't forget, down. We scale it down. The clue is that P ratio when the figures are higher than the yield. So that's why we scale it down. So scale it down. So it will be 80% times 10, and that will give us 8. So the P ratio for that of Better Days is 8. The P ratio for Better Days is 8 because of the risk factor. If a listed company is getting 10, they are earning 10 on the price. Oh, then you on this you should earn 8. Then you go to the last step, step 3. So now calculate the market price per share, which is equal to the PE ratio times the earnings per share. So PE ratio we had 8, so it will be 8. Sorry. So it will be 8 times earnings per share of 2.1. So therefore the market price will be 8. So that will be 8 to 16, right? So 16.8, right? So that will give us 16.8. 16.8 per share. Agreed. Now let's go and do the analysis, the advice. So under this JM Limited, JM is holding 25%. So it will be the JMs will be 20,000 like this, or 20 million, because the shares are 20 million times the 16 dot what dot 8 times 25%, because GM is having 25%. That's what GM will get. And you put the answer down. We are done. Now let's move on to dividend yield method. The dividend yield method. Great. Okay, to be the number of shares times the share price. Now the share price is 16.8. That's the market price. So this one will give us the total value times the shareholders holding is having. So 8.4 million, right? Good. So he will get 8.4 million. 8.4 million. Good. 8.4 million. Great. Great. So continuation. And next one is dividend yield. Then almost through. So dividend yield method. Dividend yield method. Dividend yield method. Now on to 3 steps. All the yield, price, and 3-step approach. Okay. So 3-step approach. That one to step 1. Calculate the dividend per share. Ordinary dividend per share, DPS, which is equal to total ordinary dividend divided by number of what shares. So that's the first step that we are going to do. Oh, sorry, the top one. We are still calculating dividend per share. So let's go to the question and pick the dividend per share. Dividend per share will be now the total dividend. Total dividend, it should be among good. This is the proposed dividend. Whether proposed dividend or dividend paid, we are looking for dividend. The total. So we pick the total. The dividend is 8,000, right? So it will be 8 million divided by the 20 million number of shares. So it's equal to 8 million divided by 20 million. That will give us Ghana city of 0.8 over 20. So 8 divided by 20, that should give us something like 0.4. So Ghana city of 0.4. Step 2. Calculate the dividend yield for a similar company. Step 2. The dividend yield for a similar company, bracket Happy Limited. Calculate it. But here, thank God, the examiner have done it already, which is equal to 8%. In fact, convert it to the decimal, be on the other side. 8% simple means 0.08. 8% means 0.08. Or we can just maintain the 8%. It also works. Good. Then we scale it up. So scale up with the risk factor. So scale up with the risk factor. So assume a risk of what? Risk of 20%. Then better days. Better days one will be here. You scale it upwards. So 1.2. For the risk factor is 20%. So if it's 20%, it will be 120%, which is the same as 1.2. Convert to decimal, add it to 1. So 1.2 times the 8%. So that will give us so 1.2 times 8. 20% of 8 will give us, that's 20% of 8. That's 1.6. 1.6 plus 8. That will be 9.6. Agreed. It will be 9.6%. Yeah, done. Let's go to step 3. So step 1, step 2, step 3. All of them 3 steps approach. All of them 3 steps approach. So step 3, We now calculate the market price per share. Market price per share under the dividend yield is equal to the dividend yield divided by that of the dividend per share. Dividend per share. Okay. So which is equal to dividend yield of 0.096. Convert this one to decimal. It's 9%. It will be 0.096 all divided by the dividend per share of 0.04. So this is the market price. And that would be so market price of wow. Then go being so good. We're almost getting to the tail end of the game. Is 2.4 or 0.24. It should be 0.096 divided by great. This one is 0.4. 0.4, not 0.24. So thank you. Okay, so it's 2.4. Good. So Ghana city of 2.4 per share. 2.4 per share. Then, as usual, we find JM's position. That's the advice. So I think I'll do that one here. Let me see if you can do something small here. Let them do something small there. So JM position. JM position. It will be 20 million shares times the price 2.4 times JM is having 25%. So whatever answer you get for JM, we are done for the game. What level is the discounted cash flow techniques? And then finally, okay, I guess when you divide by 0.4, we are getting 0.24. Let me see, divided by 0.4. Please 0.24. This answer is 0.24. Can you take me? 0.24. Should be 0.24. Okay. That's the share price. Okay, thank you. Good. Okay, so let's quickly wrap up with the last method. This is select 3. Please do not select more than 3. Great. With the discounted cash flow techniques, all what you have to do is, as usual, we find the cash flow. So all the years are here. It's a profit. You have to convert the profit to be cash flow. So add back the depreciation each year. So you create a column. So that one, the column look like this. So as usual, quickly, then we are done. Quickly. The column look like this. So we are using what we call discounted cash flow method. Like this. Tell the examiner that you are doing with the years here. Profit will come here. Your depreciation adding back. Get the cash flow. Discount factor and then PV. Wow. So all these lines might be in the nicely like this. So that's all. Bring the cash flow. Discount factor is 20%. So you can quote them. The next year they quoted it. They quoted some year bit there, so you just have to include that years there. They started with 2018 up to 2022. So don't forget. You have to start from 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22. So the profit will come, depreciation come, and then you add this one to this, you get the cash. Discount factor year one will be what? 0.833 Then year 2, 20%, 0.694, 0.5, 679 or 69, 579, then 0.482, and then 0.402. I hope you know how to find a discount factor. You multiply this one by this one to put it in, we are done. For the overall PV, the total answer that you get, don't forget to advise JM that JM, your share will be what? That value, I'm assuming that it is X. Bring the X here, multiply by 20%. Whatever answer you get, that's for JM. We are done. Great. In fact, the discount factors here become year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, in that order. So 20% as usual. For using FX or MX, 1 over 1.2 to the power 1, 2, 3 in that order. Or the 1 divided by 1.2, then we press the answers like the same one. Okay. So that is how I arrive at the discount factor.